The night began softly. Rain had fallen earlier, leaving the streets quiet and shining under the city lights. Everything felt calm, still, almost unreal. Emma sat alone by the window, watching the reflections outside. Cars passed slowly below. The world seemed distant tonight. Not lonely, just far away. A warm cup of tea rested beside her, sending small waves of steam into the cool evening air. She wrapped herself in a blanket and closed her eyes for a moment. Only for a moment. But slowly, without realizing it, she drifted into sleep. And suddenly, she was somewhere else. A quiet train station. Empty. Covered in soft silver light. The sky above looked endless, filled with stars brighter than anything she had ever seen. The air felt warm, peaceful, as if time no longer existed there. Emma looked around slowly. The station seemed familiar, even though she knew she had never seen it before. A train stood silently nearby, its lights glowing softly in the darkness. No sound, no movement, only silence. And then, she noticed someone standing at the far end of the platform. A man, looking toward the sky, still, quiet, as if he had been waiting. Emma hesitated for a second, but strangely she wasn't afraid. The man slowly turned toward her, and when their eyes met, something inside her shifted gently. Not shock, not fear, recognition, as if somehow she already knew him. He smiled softly. "Beautiful night," he said. Emma nodded. "Yes. It feels different here." The man looked around the station. "Maybe because this place isn't real." Emma frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" He smiled again. "I think we're dreaming." The words should have sounded strange, impossible, but somehow they didn't. Instead, everything suddenly made sense. The quietness, the stars, the feeling that time had stopped. Emma looked at the train again. "Then who are you?" she asked softly. The man paused, almost as if he was searching for the answer himself. "Daniel," he said finally. Emma repeated the name quietly in her mind. Daniel. It felt warm somehow, familiar. "And you?" he asked. "Emma." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The stars above them shimmered softly, like distant lights floating in dark water. "This dream feels too real," Emma whispered. Daniel nodded slowly. "I was thinking the same thing." A soft wind moved through the station. Somewhere far away, a quiet train bell echoed gently. Emma looked around again. The station seemed endless now, as if it existed outside the world, outside time. "Have you ever dreamed of this place before?" Daniel asked. Emma shook her head slowly. "No, but it feels familiar." Daniel looked thoughtful. "Maybe dreams remember things that we forget." The sentence stayed with her, soft, mysterious, beautiful. They began walking slowly along the empty platform, their footsteps quiet against the ground. "What happens when we wake up?" Emma asked after a while. Daniel smiled faintly. "I don't know." Something about that answer made the night feel even quieter, because sometimes the most beautiful moments feel temporary, like they exist only long enough to change us. They reached the end of the station, where the lights grew softer and the stars above seemed impossibly close. Emma stopped walking. "So this is really a dream," she whispered. Daniel looked at her calmly. "Maybe. Or maybe dreams are just another place we visit sometimes." Emma smiled slightly. "That sounds impossible." Daniel laughed softly. "And yet, here we are." For the first time that night, Emma laughed too. Quietly, gently, and somehow the empty station didn't feel empty anymore. Above them, the stars continued glowing, silent, endless, watching over two strangers sharing the same dream. The night remained still around them. No clocks, no voices, no distant sounds from the city. Only the soft glow of stars above the silent station. Emma and Daniel continued walking slowly along the empty platform. Neither of them seemed in a hurry, as if somewhere deep inside, they both understood that this moment mattered. "Do you think we'll remember this tomorrow?" Emma asked softly. Daniel looked up at the sky for a moment. "I hope so." His voice carried something gentle, something almost sad. Because sometimes beautiful moments feel fragile, like they can disappear the second we look away. The soft wind moved again, brushing lightly through Emma's hair. The station lights flickered quietly beside them. Everything felt dreamlike, and yet more real than reality itself. "I've never had a dream like this before," Emma admitted. Daniel smiled slightly. "Neither have I." They reached an old wooden bench near the edge of the platform. Daniel sat down first, looking out toward the endless tracks disappearing into darkness. Emma sat beside him, close enough to share the silence. Above them, the stars looked impossibly bright now, almost close enough to touch. "My grandmother used to say something," Daniel said quietly. Emma looked at him. "What did she say?" "That sometimes two people dream together when their hearts are searching for the same thing." Emma felt something warm inside her chest. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, just quiet, comforting. "And what do you think we're searching for?" she asked softly. Daniel thought for a moment, then smiled gently. "Maybe peace." Emma nodded slowly. "Yes, I think so too." The station lights dimmed slightly. The world around them seemed softer now, as if the dream itself was slowly growing quieter. "I don't want to wake up yet," Emma whispered. Daniel looked at her. "Neither do I." For a long moment, they simply sat together. No words, no questions. Only the feeling that somehow they were exactly where they were meant to be. Eventually, Emma noticed something strange. Far down the tracks, a faint golden light appeared. Soft at first, distant, but slowly growing brighter. "The train," Daniel said quietly. Emma looked at him. "What happens when it arrives?" Daniel smiled faintly. "I think the dream ends." Something about those words made the night suddenly feel fragile again. The train moved closer slowly, its lights glowing warmly through the darkness, still silent, still unreal. Emma's heart felt heavier now, not because she was afraid, but because she realized she didn't want this moment to disappear. "What if we never see each other again?" she asked softly. Daniel turned toward her fully now, and for the first time that night, his eyes looked uncertain. "Maybe we will," he said quietly. "Dreams are strange." The train finally stopped beside the platform. Its doors opened slowly. Warm golden light spilled gently across the ground. Emma stood slowly. Daniel stood beside her. Neither of them moved toward the train yet. The stars above them still shimmered quietly, watching, waiting. Daniel reached into his coat pocket, then handed Emma a small folded piece of paper. "What's this?" she asked softly. "A name," he said, "in case this dream is real enough to follow." Emma unfolded the paper slowly, a phone number, and beneath it, Daniel's full name. She looked up at him, surprised. "You think we might really exist?" she whispered. Daniel smiled softly. "I think some dreams are trying to tell us something." The train lights flickered once more. The world around them began fading gently at the edges. The stars blurred softly above. Emma looked at him quickly. "I don't want to forget this." "You won't," Daniel said quietly. "Neither will I." And then, Everything disappeared. Emma opened her eyes suddenly. Morning light filled her room softly. Rain no longer touched the windows. The city outside was waking slowly. For a moment, she stayed completely still, listening to her heartbeat, trying to hold on to the dream. And then she remembered the station, the stars, Daniel, the paper. Emma sat up quickly, her heart moving faster now, because resting quietly beside her on the table near the window was a small folded piece of paper. Her hands trembled slightly as she opened it. A phone number, and beneath it, Daniel's name. Outside, the morning sky glowed softly with light, but somewhere deep inside her, the stars still felt close. Because sometimes, two strangers really do share the same dream.